the seagulls follow the shore. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
And as we say now in my country, they brought the buzz and they left the buzz in front of the goal.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes! I don't know what was going on there. It seemed to just stop a wee bit abruptly. Caught me out. I don't know what happened there. That was weird as anything. Anyway, good evening. Welcome on to the Tuesday Ticket. And there's three of us tonight because my voice is not going to hold up. Just chat with Jonathan. So we got Phil on early to dig me out a wee bit. I hope everyone is good in the chat. Jonathan, good evening. How are you?
I'm very good, Russell. I have to think about the past week. It's been an interesting week in Scottish football, hasn't it? You know, on Saturday, we seen an upset at Celtic Park as we dropped our first home points of the season. However, there was a capitulation at Pittodrie only 24 hours later as Aberdeen cuffed Rangers and Rangers failed to take advantage of an opportunity to close the gap at the top of the title race. On top of that, speaking of capitulations, Russell, the SFA have also capitulated of late with their announcement of the post-split fixtures, which sees Celtic go to Tynecastle, where only 1,200 fans will get into the ground before having to go to Ibrox the following week. And then you're talking about upsets. That leads us on to Sunday. I can tell you for one thing for sure, though, there won't be any upsets in terms of the football score, but you will see a very upset Mickey Beale come full-time on Sunday because Rangers are in a position, not like the Amazon series where it's all or nothing. It's all about something or nothing for Mickey Beale come Sunday. And Celtic are looking at Rangers and they are seeing a gaping wound in their old enemies. They're on the floor for the count. Celtic have the salt shaker out, Russell, and it's a question of will it be like Salt BAE where they'll just sprinkle a little bit of salt into the wounds, or will they go fuck it and empty the full shaker all over them? The answers are coming up on Sunday and I cannot wait.
What the hell, man? You've went from Jim White to Hugh Keevins now. It's just Hugh Keevins here. I like that something. It's all or nothing, or it's something, or it's not all or nothing. It's something or nothing for them. That was good. Very good, Jonathan. Good start. That's a good start. We better do all that good stuff. All that good stuff. If you've not already given us a wee like, Tuesday nights, get hitting that like button. We're all up for it. If you want to, give us a wee subscribe, like so many others have. I never even check anymore, Phil. It just keeps going up. So we're happy with that.
3,540 something.
Decent. So yes, do feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you want to become a Boise Bus member, like Pam, like Stubbsy Sauce, Scott Howe, like Brown Warrior, like Stephen Murdoch, like Alan Woods, like Patrick McLaughlin, or like Charles Smith. We're all going to start talking like you now, Jonathan. I feel like I'm even busting into that accent now. For fuck's sake. If you want to become a Boise Bus member, it's totally optional. It's $1.99, and there's a wee button at the bottom if you want to. Now, also, if you listen to us on audio, sometimes you can only watch 10 minutes live, and you're like, "I'll catch up, I'll download it." Look for a different version of the Boise Bus channel, because we have switched over to Acast as using now our sort of platform. And the first episode going up will be tonight's. And then I will upload some. I'll send them over some of the previous ones as well. Not all. It's just a bit of a mission putting them all over. Do you know what I mean? It's just pointless because they're all time stamped. Do you know what I mean? But I think we could put over maybe the last week's worth. We'll do. But yes, so do look out for that. If you are a regular sort of listener to the Boise Bus on audio, it will be coming from a different Boise Bus channel. It'll still be on all your favourite audio platforms, but it'll look the exact same. It'll just be a different one. So
and that is a URL there at the bottom of the screen.
Yes, there you go. Look at that. That is efficiency, Phil. That is efficiency. Speaking of being efficient, as Jonathan alluded to in the opening gambit there, Phil. Is that what you call that? Opening gambit? Something like that. He was saying, about the old fixture list. And do you know what? They could have got it right. They could have got it wrong. They got it wrong, as always. And in my opinion, what it boils down to for me with these fixtures, I said it off here, it actually annoys me that no one wants to address in the media the elephant in the room here. And that is that a league title, a 38 game for each club's season, one most important aspect to it. Not who's going for a Europa League spot, not who's going for the tops, or no, they'll be in the top 6, not who's going to play 3 games at home and 2 games away, but winning the fucking thing. Guess what? That tends to be the most important thing in any competition, who is going to win it. And we've decided, somehow, between the bigwigs at HQ, to not give it, sadly, to Celtic Park in that opening out of the 6 games, because we're only playing twice, and they'll come up with a reason. But at the end of the day, I just think when you're winning a trophy, or you're not it's not maybe trophy day in itself, but when you're winning a competition, to me that should be like a spectacle, and I would like to think you've earned the right to do that in front of your home fans, not away ones. I think that's blatantly obvious in my opinion. I can't understand the logic behind Celtic are 1 win away from winning the league. Let's make their first game away from home. What do you think, Phil, about it?
Not surprised one bit. Of course, they are one of the club's Hearts who have given us reduced allocation and so on. So I imagine they're probably going to stick to that. They won't even push the boat out to allow more fans in. I know there's other clubs in the past that have done that. I was down at Rugby Park in 2012 and they gave us free stands that day. I don't expect Tynecastle to be free stands of Celtic fans, but the full Roseburn stand like the old days, maybe wouldn't have been a shout. We got it in the cup allocation, didn't we? And we beat them through there. So unfortunately, it's going to be 1,000. Jonathan, did you say 1,400?
1,200, I believe it is. Yeah, but 1,200, I think it is.
Aye, and then they don't even give you the next game being at home. We have Ibrox after that, so the majority of Celtic fans won't get to see the team in person because I'm pretty confident we'll have won the title by that point, but it won't be until fixture number 3, unfortunately. But I'm not surprised by it at all. And yeah, it's interesting as well, the two first fixtures that we've got. I don't know if there's some sort of ulterior motive there, but I've got the same mentality as you, Russell. This came out when we drew Hearts in the Cup earlier in the season, and everyone was like, or not everyone, but there was a lot of fans like, oh, typical, we get Hearts at Tynecastle. Do you know what? To win the league, you've got to just beat everybody. We'll go to Tynecastle and we'll do it. We'll win it there anyway. I don't buy into this whole, they've gave us the hardest game and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
let's go and do it.
I like that attitude, Phil. Like I'm very much cut for that cloth. I'm not saying because of the difficulty of the game. Like I just think it should be, in my opinion, if you've got destiny to decide these final 5 fixtures. You leave it till this point in time to make them. You know how it's roadmap now because Celtic's 1 game away.
Yeah.
Just give them the next game at home, and then if we make a big James Hunt it, he's gonna laugh. Do you know what I mean? And so are we, because then we'll know who we play next. But I just don't think
I don't know if it's the case of, because you get 2 home games in the 5. I mean, I don't think Celtic would care if the first game and the 5th game were both at home and the 3 in the middle were away. But I don't know why, they feel the need for it to be like 2, then 1 at home. So I don't know if they've gone for that mentality of...
I think they want to alternate it. They want to alternate it.
It's just like, we'll play them whenever we need to play them, but
when you're winning a league title, this is what I keep going back to. I'm like, this is... Like, that's where you make a special dispensation. Instead of doing this rotating bullshit, it's like, surely you go, well, it's quite a big deal when the team that wins the league's got an opportunity to do so. You do it at their home ground, and the biggest ground in the league. Anyway, I mean, we could dwell on it all night, Jonathan. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it seems like a strange one. I don't know if it comes down to TV deals, etc., as well plays into it, because I think I read somewhere Sky could only televise, was it 4 games a season from each ground? And by my logic, they would have already had 3 at Celtic Park, so they only have 1 more at Celtic Park, if that is correct. I'm sure they could have worked a deal on the side, even if that was the position, but that certainly seems to be what the rumour suggests. They can only broadcast 4 times, and because they had the first game of the season against Aberdeen, ironically, and they'll have the last game of the season against Aberdeen, as we bookend it quite nicely with home games against Aberdeen, then that maybe ruled out taking the St Mirren game with the way the games have fallen. But I mean, looking at it, it should certainly have been a case that Celtic had the opportunity in one of those first 2 games to have had a home match. I don't really buy into the fact they have to go to Tynecastle and then go to Ibrox as a particularly fair way to start it for the supporters. And you've got to remember, the supporters go every week. Phil's a season ticket holder. He's spending his hard-earned cash with many of thousands of others. And, these opportunities only come around, once a season to actually see your club win this, if you're in a lucky enough position to be able to do so. And I think you should be trying to maximise that for the fans. And it looks as if the SFA have totally missed the boat once again with that. It's an interesting one, though, as well, and I'll put this back to you guys. If Celtic were to fail against Hearts, does this kind of backfire a little bit on the SFA? Because I can't imagine they really want us going to Ibrox with the thought of clinching the title there either.
They wouldn't have thought of that. There's a couple of arguments coming in the chat. I think it's Thomas Burns, and great to have you on the bus. And he's saying, well, Celtic, they've only got 1 more game they can play at Celtic Park. Well, why have we played 3 games on the telly in the league at Celtic Park already?
Well, they'd always take Flag Day, wouldn't they? They'd always take Flag Day, and you've got the 2 derbies.
So that's 3.
And the last one will be Trophy Day.
And the last one will be Trophy Day, so that's where you
2 derbies, Trophy Day.
And Flag Day at the start of the season.
Flag Day at the start of the season.
That seems...
It seems a bit of an odd rule, that, doesn't it?
Aye, that does seem odd.
I don't know if that's legit or not, but that certainly has been talked about by a lot of different people. So I can only assume somebody maybe is in the know. What we certainly aren't.
I think no, we're not ITK. I mean, I just think it's not like guys like Phil that pays through the nose year on year to watch their team, and then he won't be at Tynecastle. He'll watch Celtic win the league on the telly, just like someone like me who doesn't pay for a season ticket, and it's just the same for me. It's not really from my point of view, and it's not from a sporting point of view. I just think the season ticket holders and think it's a wee bit shite. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. No, definitely. It's this time of the year again, and this argument always comes up at this exact point where Scottish football fans are asking, what's the point in the split anymore? Like, this causes this hassle every year. That's another debate for another time. We could probably go into Scottish football reconstruction, but honestly, this split and try to balance it out, 19 home games, 19 away for every team. It's so hard to make it work. And this argument comes up at this time every year. I hear Aberdeen are unhappy having to come to Celtic Park 3 times and stuff like that this season. It's like, this is the beast that we've created by having this split from 2001. So
it's a problem there, Phil. It's a problem there.
We've always won the league though before the split usually, so.
I don't think it affects. It doesn't affect us too much. But you make good points here, talking about the other clubs competing for Europe, because that can't be great. For a club like Aberdeen, for example, having to go to Celtic Park potentially on the last day, needing something for third. When if we're talking fairly, we should really have been going to Pittodrie if it was actually working out the way it should have done. But that's just not how the split operates. It happens almost every year. You end up either with somebody having to come to us more than they should have, or we have to go somewhere else more than we should have, apart from Rangers, which they always make sure balances out naturally. But anyway, anything else could go anyway whatsoever with it. And I think when you're looking at the split, I think this is a reason why so many people are against the split. But the problem they have, I think, is there's not really many other options on the table as to how to really improve the product, because you can't add more teams in, because then you'll get less derby matches, and Sky won't be interested if there's only 2 Celtic Rangers games each season. So they're kind of stuck, I think, with what they have, and it's trying to make the best of it. But I mean, I did see some things on Twitter about this as well, as to how they could have marketed the actual announcement of the fixtures better. And I do think there is more of a marketing job the SFA could do, with that, because there is an opportunity there when you've got these fixtures coming out. It's quite big news, and it just kind of gets put out, and they could turn it into a bit more of an event where they actually, announce it on the telly in front of everyone and try and turn it into something that I think is a bit more of a marketing campaign. But the SFA never really want to do any of that, do they?
I like that.
Right.
That's a good idea. But yeah, and by the way, if ever we were going to be happy to do a wee favour for our pals, especially Barry Robson at Aberdeen and Liam Scales, we'd have happily done it. That was a good wee weekend, lads. Right, Phil, obviously now, whilst we can, the weekend gloating's been brilliant fun, and social media just becomes hilarious, and the meltdown, as we all expected, is getting bigger, and more waffling nonsense from Mr. Beale. He just talks, man. It's all he can do. He just talks and talks and talks. He talks. He's selling to talk. He just talks shite all the time. He's just going round and round, and I'm like, I don't even think you have an answer. I just think you just talk. That's all he does. But and he's like one of those teeth that you wind up. That's just like his gub. But anyway, the inevitables happened there, and it couldn't have happened at a better time for us, because we at the weekend, I know you've done the Sunday blether since, and me and Terry did post-match. I was pretty relaxed, and that being relaxed actually proved to be spot on, because what happened at Pittodrie played out. It's put us in a position where you could look at the weekend there almost the same way, Phil, as what we've looked at the last 3 derbies. We've not been at our best, but we've extended the gap at the top, or we've won a trophy. It's like it must be like they were crap again this weekend, and we're further behind again. Must be tough, man. It must be tough. You were obviously at the game, Phil. And look, I thought, in terms of a display, does that set you up for the semi-final ideally? No, of course it doesn't. But you know what? If ever a team has earned a free pass from me, from all of us, I would like to think it is a team dropping points for the 3rd time in a calendar season with the league already in the bag. The hard work, in my opinion, has been done. I know there's a few comments after post-match pitch that were saying sort of like, it's not actually done yet, though. You can't be too confident. I might just wait till tomorrow. Wait till tomorrow. We'll be fine. Phil, they've went out. We drew at home. No one's seen that coming. They've then went and got their arse handed to them by Aberdeen. Yeah. And you now kind of look at the optics and you go, for whatever moment there was where we thought, come the final whistle at Celtic Park, oh, wow, that wasn't the performance we wanted. It's kind of been eroded, because however we must be feeling about ourselves right now, after a disappointing display, where must our rivals be this weekend with this fixture looming? And as Jonathan says, it's not all or nothing for them. It's all or nothing maybe for, for some of them, if the Scottish Cup's now got that sort of, ranking in their priorities.
It's something or nothing.
It's something or nothing, though, really. Yeah. And I just feel that now we go in there with the optics looking back in Celtic's favour again. It didn't last long being a wee bit worried about it, did it?
The pendulum dramatically swung back our way. You rightfully say, again, mark of champions. I suppose you don't play well and somehow we still managed to extend it. But they will be absolutely seething about that one, because I know effectively a lot of their players will have accepted that the chances of them winning the league title were very, very slim. But momentum is so important. It's the invisible force that we talk about. And it's like, okay, well, we can get a win over Aberdeen and even closes the gap over to Celtic ahead of this cup semi-final. It's a good confidence. Plus, Aberdeen's always a difficult place for Rangers to go. So it would have been a real thing to G them up ahead of this one. But no, they were just awful. I mean, for as bad as we may have played on Saturday, then my God, what was that they phoned in on Sunday? Jesus, they were absolutely horrendous. So the momentum is definitely back with us again. I think that bad performance that we had on Saturday is probably came at a good time, because it's probably gave us that sort of right week. And the thing is, I'm just smart enough to know this. We can't afford to play like that again next week, because it's a cup game as well. You've got no room for error in cup games. If you lose a league game, you can rebound from it because there's league games still to follow. But with a cup game, it's over and done with if you don't get it right on the day. So Ange will be acutely aware of how he's got to he cannot allow the players to go out there and put in a performance like that, and I strongly think that they won't put in a performance like that. They themselves will know that okay, we won at our best there, but against them I think we'll be mad up for it as well, and I think they just the occasion itself will be enough to get us up for it, and we know what's on the line here. So I'm fully expecting after that performance on Saturday, it'll actually work in our favour. And yeah, for them losing as well, then that's going to work more in our favour.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so as well. I think, when you're looking at the game at the weekend, Celtic can't afford to play as poorly as they did on Saturday, because as far as I'm concerned, after watching this weekend, the only team that stops Celtic on Sunday is Celtic. That's my opinion now on it. I am fully on board with this, that Rangers team are pish. I've fully came to that realisation. I thought even after we got the draw on Saturday, I was still fairly relaxed Rangers wouldn't go to Pittodrie and win. I had money on Aberdeen because I was that confident. So it didn't surprise me in the slightest that that's happening, because that's been threatening to happen. Please gamble responsibly. Yes, please do gamble responsibly. But that's been threatening to happen for a while under Beale. He's maybe won all his games against the other clubs, but it's not been in the same way that Celtic have managed to go about their business this season against the rest of the teams. Monday was a bit of a blip. Saturday was a bit of a blip, but I think when you're looking at Sunday coming up, I would fully expect that to refocus Celtic. I think the interesting thing for me as well is looking at this. The narrative now is going to completely change from the media, because looking at it on Saturday night, you could already see what the media narrative was going to be this week if Rangers had managed to win at Pittodrie, and it'd been like, oh, Celtic might be out of form, there's cracks there, Rangers can try and exploit that. And you could see it already, the headlines and everything else for the whole week. They're now going to have to completely shift that narrative, and it's a bit harder really trying to find anything overly positive to big Rangers up in the way that they normally do. The press, I'm sure they'll probably find something in the next couple of days. It looks like it's Butland or whatever that they're being linked to sign to try and get some good news spin. Yep. Yeah, some good news spin out of Ibrox, as they always find a way to get good news spin out of Ibrox.
You can hear it. Would have won more caps than Joe Hart had he not been plagued by some toenail injury. You can hear it now.
Oh, wait till he jets in, Russell, in the newspaper. He jetted in. That's one of their favourites as well.
Jets in for Stoke. He's
jets in. Aye.
But I tell you the other thing, Jonathan, just very quick, I'll come back to you. See, when you're just saying that, though, about I'm sure they'll find a way. Well, they're running out of avenues, because Connor Goldson described Mickey Beale's time was going to be, as long as we win the league in Mickey Beale's time there, whatever that means. And I've explained on this.
How many years he's getting?
I've explained
he might need a few.
I've explained on this bus many a time. I said when he was first appointed, right at the start, I went, look at the numbers. 23 games he'll have been in charge of it, 38.
Yep.
3 out of 4 derbies. He'll have a League Cup semi and a League Cup final and the whole Scottish Cup. This has been very much a Mickey Beale season. He's also had a transfer window, Jonathan. And then they contrast, they compare, and they say, but look how well he did at Queen's Park Rangers. Now that's interesting, because if that's the case, and you want to point to that as a success story, then you can't use only one transfer window as an excuse anymore, because that's all he had there. You can't use he's not had enough game time at Rangers because he's had more at Rangers than he had there. So these arguments are all falling apart. The Mind the Gap Cup, that's gone. They're now looking at the gaps getting closer. That gap's now extended from 9 points to 13 points. The goal difference is racked up. He's lost the final. All these wee things are running out, Jonathan. So you're right. They will still find a way to spin it. But fuck me, he's closing doors even on the press's faces, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it'll be a very interesting weekend. Should they lose on Sunday, then the pressure is right on Mickey Beale. I mean, the knives will be out if we win on Sunday and get any sort of result at Ibrox. I don't even think we need to win at Ibrox necessarily, even a draw. And I think Rangers fans will have the knives out on Mickey, because that'll be, what, five attempts, I think that is, after the Ibrox game. And if he doesn't manage to win any of them, then, yeah, I can't see the Rangers fans taking too kindly to that. And he'll be on a sugly peg from minute one of the following season. It's interesting because he's already now talking about next season, because that's all he does. He just talks about something else that's coming up rather than talking about what's actually just happened on the pitch. It's always about tomorrow and never about today when it comes to Mickey Beale. But he's running out of opportunities. As I say, this Sunday is really a something or nothing. Could have done that to DVD. Could have that Rangers DVD or documentary, something or nothing, their game against Celtic, because that is what it really is all boiling down to now.
He would love to do one of those documentaries, eh?
He would
fucking. I bet he's already asked to do one. It'll be good revenue streams for Rangers. I know. I can't imagine him going like, Mickey, could you get out the road, son? Like we're trying to. He's like, what's that, mate? Just getting in the way of the camera. Like, we're trying to video the team like there's a game going on. Big Mickey Beale just front, left and centre. Get away. He would love that, the way. Something or Nothing, starring me, Mickey Beale.
Brand Beale, Mr. Self-Preservation. He would absolutely love that. Make it all about him. Oh yes.
Yeah, I think he would like that. But I mean, looking at it from a Celtic point of view, it's all noise. I mean, the relaxing thing is, from a Celtic point of view, is we've done so much hard work already this season. We've already got one trophy in the bag. Another one is to follow in the next few weeks. That now this is really just an opportunity to put the cherry on the cake, if you like. As I said in my opening analogy, Rangers are already beaten. They're a bust man. They are on the ground and the wound is open profusely. Celtic already have the salt shaker out, and it really is just a question of whether they want to do the small shaking like Salt Bay, or whether they want to actually just go on full on and just chuck the full fucking salt can into their open wound. And I think that's what it's going to boil down to, because I think the way Rangers are going, and after that defeat at Pittodrie, I wouldn't be overly surprised if Celtic were to give them a doing, because for me, Celtic haven't really turned up yet against Rangers since Beale has been their manager. I think Celtic have yet to show how good they actually are against Rangers since Mickey Beale has entered the building. And wouldn't it be nice if it was to be this weekend where Celtic decide to chuck the salt can all over Rangers' open wound?
That's plenty for you, Shug. Right, Phil. I'm beginning to get flashbacks of, I think it was Patrick McLaughlin said he's the next Murray. Is this not a wee bit like? Is this not a wee bit like it? Remember, we spoke about it in Nostalgia loads. Be careful what you wish for, and I think it was the Loudon Tavern, and they were all yes, we drew, because they beat Falkirk like twice or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And they all got very excited at playing us. Well, had that result went in their favour at the weekend and we dropped the points, I definitely think we'd have been in that territory this week. Definitely. But the fact is, I don't think we had been in our best groove of form during those maybe 4 or 5 results that Murty had put together at that time. And I think they were contrasting, comparing and thinking, again, it all comes back to the same old shite. The gap's getting closer. It's all the same shite that we've heard year on year, right? Bar one season, and we all know many reasons for that. But thanks for going on about it again, Lenny. I've done my best to defend you on this channel for the last 12 months, but mate, you're killing me. Stop talking about that season, especially with Peter Martin. But I do think, Phil, there is some similarities. Could it be that beating, they are due, by the way, well overdue on offers. Aberdeen put them at the sword with ease at the weekend. I mean, I think if we play to our, close to our best, better than what we've played so far, it could be that 3, that 4, and that's what we want. It's not being overconfident. I can draw the parallels from experience. I've seen this movie before, and by the way, a lot of them, even there still, are the same players that we've put to the sword in these sort of situations before. It's just coming along, it's bubbling away quite nicely, in my opinion.
I think Jonathan nailed it really well earlier on when he said the only team that can beat Celtic is Celtic themselves. So let's look at the games we've played against Beals Rangers, right? The game at Ibrox at the start of the year, we were excellent at the start of that game, and then a weird momentum shift happened that we caused ourselves when Joe Hart had a bit of a meltdown at the back, and it gave them that sort of moment where they got their back up, and the whole momentum of the game seemed to change. The cup final where we were 2-0 up, cruising, no problem at all. I mean, it looked like we could have went on and won that quite comfortably at that point in time, but then they got a snidey goal back from a set piece, which is 9 times out of 10 their best weapon, and we were under the cosh for maybe a good 15-20 minutes there in the cup final. And in the game at Celtic Park recently as well, when we made it 3-1, I think you even said it in PMP at the time, where it was like that, you felt like, okay, they're completely gone now. We can go on and win this about 5 or 6-1 here. But then we let a silly goal in at the other end. And then suddenly the momentum shifted again. So it's one of these ones again coming up this Sunday where we make it whatever we want to be. We've got it in us to go and absolutely demolish them. But it feels like in the games we've played against them recently, we've been at a point where we can absolutely smash them. Then just something we seem to cause a problem ourselves by losing a silly goal or just something that allows them back into the game, and then it becomes a bit more shaky than it needs to be. And unfortunately, what happens then is they get all these plaudits coming out of it, and that's where you get all the false sense of bravado. Oh, we're closing the gap. Oh, if this guy plays in the next game, we'll win. If we do this in the next game, we'll win. And they start formulating all these plans. They go around the houses of what players on their squad. I mean, I'm surprised they've not wheeled out like Yanis Hadji or Rabbi Matondo if they play in the next game. I mean, last night on Super Scoreboard, 2 fans came on and talked about Scott Arfield being the answer. Scott Arfield being the answer. Really? Are you kidding me? Is that what we've got to now? I saw one the other week. Somebody posted on Twitter a bunch of players that didn't play in the last game. One of them was Tom Lawrence. I didn't even know who it was. It's like, who even is that? So that's what they do. But it's because in some of the games we've made some silly mistakes. It gave them that bit of hope. And we were in a position. So hopefully this Sunday, if we do find ourselves in a strong position, say 2 up, just keep going. Just put them to the sword and really put them in their place, because you don't want to give them that false sense of hope.
Phil, you're talking about obviously what they think of, what they're searching for answers. Obviously, the stories right now, and just kind of got us as much as anyone else, on strings as always when it comes to who's fit, who's not. I'm like, can we not even get a straight answer, Ange? I get it. I know it must be quite fun and it must be quite boring winning all the time, and you're just toying with us all really when it comes to Abada, Jota, Hatate. San Fran Celtic wants a Rio man of the match performance Sunday, and we will be set. Are these 3 going to make it? Are they fit? Is he playing games with us? I can't work it out, Phil.
I think Hatate and Jota will make it. I think Abada. If Abada's in the squad, I think he'll be on the bench. But I think Rio Hatate will make it. It'll be one of these ones that will go to the 11th hour, late fitness tests and stuff like that. But I think he'll make it. And funny enough, I think he'll just fit back in there seamlessly. I've got a vision of him having like a man of the match level performance, because he is that guy. He is that player, that level. You see it when he's been at the team for the last few weeks. The tempo in the middle of the park isn't the same without him. but I've got a feeling that he is going to make it. There's just something's telling me that he's going to be there. I say I'm quite hopeful for Jota as well. I think Jota missing at the weekend there. There wasn't any real reports about injuries and so on. I think that was just a move to keep him for the semi-final. But Vitati is the one for me. And if he does make it, I think he will have a great game.
I think Atati's going to make it as well. I think Ange Postecoglou is keeping his cards close to his chest with good reason to keep the Rangers management team guessing as to whether Atati will make it or not. But I think, Motherwell was probably slightly early perhaps for him. It's a game which, whilst we might have dropped points, it was never going to be, hugely important in the grand scheme of things with the position we're in the league. So he was probably unlikely to want to put anyone at risk in that game if he didn't have to. So I think there's a very good chance that Tati will at the very least be in the squad. I'm kind of with Phil. I think he'll actually end up going back into the starting lineup because I think he's going to have an interesting choice selection if Tati isn't fit for his midfield three. I think Iwata would certainly be making a case for a claim for a starting position, to be perfectly honest. If Hatate doesn't make it, because I think the midfield three, there's something not quite right with it the last couple of weeks with Hatate being out. Aaron Moy has obviously not quite found the same level of form he had before injury. I would be astonished if he was to start the game because of that. So I think if I was looking at it, I think Iwata would certainly be the option if Hatate doesn't make it. I fully think Hatate's been wrapped in cotton wool, and Ange Postecoglou is playing a little mind game with Mickey Beale and seeing if he'll take the bait.
A lot of people disagree and they all think Hatate is not playing, Jonathan. I'm quite happy for Iwata to play. I like what I see from him. I do have a lot more confidence that Jota will start. I think Jota is very much, he has been, he's had too big an impact in this fixture this season. Two beautiful finishes at Celtic Park against Alan McGregor, who's getting absolute pelters in the live chat, by the way, and that's fine with me. Apparently he's got one of the worst shot save rates, if you like, in the top 10 leagues in Europe. Apparently it's dreadful, so we'll just make sure we get some shots on target.
Well, it's even considering crosses now. I mean, you don't even need to shoot against them anymore.
It was a shot. No, it was a, what was it? It was a miss kick. A miss kick. Nobody cares, mate. Nobody cares. But yeah, I mean, I think Hatate for me has been so crucial to us this season, but I have liked what I've seen, firstly from Matt O'Reilly in the last few weeks. I think he's getting better again. I think he's getting his mojo back, and I don't think he was ever as far away from that as what was made out. I just think it was his turn to play, when we play eeny, meeny, miny, mo, who's the Celtic out of form, and it was just his turn. He just had his wee spell of being the fall guy. But I have liked what I've seen from Iwata. I can't always say Iwata because of bloody Rudy. Very Rudy Iwata. But no, I think Iwata has looked really good so far. I think he will get better and better. But I think when it comes to Jota, Phil, Jota comes back into that team. He starts.
Yeah, he's the magic man in the team. He's the guy that gets you off your seat. We paid that money for a reason. I've said pretty much consistently for the season that he is the best player on his day. He is the difference maker. That flair and skill in him. He's just an exciting player, and he's shown in recent games against them that he's prone to a goal here and there against them. So he's definitely getting that scalper tag that I like to always use on Nostalgia every so often, wheel that one out. So he's definitely falling into that category. And he'll be looking to add to that. And if he does make it, he'll be a crucial player for us on Sunday because he makes things happen. And I think their fullbacks will be afraid of him as well because he's got so much skill, so much, flamboyance in him. But when he's running at players, it's like you can't predict what he's going to do next and so on. So I think that if it's Tavernier or Barisic, if they do that whole switch in the middle of the game where our wingers change over, I think he keeps either of them guessing.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Jota is certainly one of those big players. I think they must be terrified running into Jota now because Jota has done so much damage against them over the last couple of seasons that he's critical to the way we go about our business. And I think it would be massive if he's fit, and I suspect he will be fit because I think we have been lacking a little bit of spark when he's been out of the team. So it would certainly be a big big help to get him back in. Obviously, not having a Bada hasn't helped much either over the past couple of weeks. So I think if we can get the wingers back firing, get Jota back into that first team, that could be a very long evening on Sunday for Mickey Beale, because I'm fully expecting Celtic to take them to the cleaners if Jota shows anywhere near the levels of form that he's capable of and has shown previously in this fixture. I'm kind of looking at the whole sort of attacking front line, and there's so much danger in there. I mean, the other one that's got to be causing them a lot of problems, who they didn't really think was somebody who was as big a threat until recently, is actually Kyogo. That's what is it, three in his last three now against Rangers. He's got the bit between his teeth.
5 in his last 3.
Aye, 5 in his last 3. Scored in the last 3. Yeah, 5 in total. Yeah. So I mean, that's a very impressive return in the last few games. He certainly is seeming like he could end up going down as a sort of kids' hero, if you like, of this squad. And I think he's only going to get better. And I think Kyogo will have the bit between his teeth again to try and prove that he can once again rise to the occasion, because he so often is the one that comes up trumps for Celtic, particularly at Hampden Park. So you think about it, the League Cup final the last 2 years has been about Kyogo. Kyogo's had the big moments that won Celtic the League Cup in each of the last 2 years. And I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he is the one who's going to have the biggest say again come Sunday.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. I think he is very much the danger man. And once he got on his roll with the scoring goals against them, we knew that would be now the norm. And once it becomes the new norm for them to deal with that, he occupies your mind's landscape too much. He just takes over. Like, where is he? What's he doing now? Because I've not even touched the ball in 20 minutes, mate, and all you've done is think about where I am. It's difficult. I mean, it must be a nightmare. We've got loads of options going forward, and the beauty is, when we look at all these signings, Phil, that we've now got as household names in the Celtic team, I was saying it in the group chat earlier on this morning, I think on the back of someone had said, they're being heavily linked with Butland. I just said, we look back over, nothing's really changed from their sort of signing policy from the turn of the century. I think, obviously there was times it was Tory Andre Flo at 12 million and stuff, but I think once McLeish kind of came in and they realised like they didn't have money, it became like Eggleston stats, and then we seen like Marcus Gale's signing, and then we seen like Franny Jeffers, and we've seen it consistent. I was trying to think more Christian Daly's coming in.
Aye.
They've went to England a few times. Joey Barton, Philip Senderos.
More recently you get your Joey Barton, Senderos. You're absolutely right, and it's not very imaginative. Whereas, I mean, I look forward to our summer because nobody knows who we're going to be signing. Nobody has a clue, and I'm just as convinced that come this time next year, there'll be a name on the tip of our tongue going into a cup semi-final, Phil, that none of us even knew about. This right now, sitting where we are right now, sound like Charlie Nicholas there, sitting here thinking. But there'll be a name linked, that we'll be going, should he start or he's got to start, and none of us will ever have said his name before at this moment in time. That's the difference right now. We're quite creative in the window. There's clearly in Ange alone a far vaster scouting network, let alone what we've now got. We're going to have with Mark Lawwell involved more heavily again this summer, and hopefully as well, with the money there, the ones that come in, okay, we might not have heard of them, but they might be even better than what we've currently got, which has always got to be the remit. But it does, when you think about it, fill you with that excitement where you go, we're talking about Iwata starting, for example. Who was Tomoki Iwata this time last year to you, Phil?
Sally, no idea.
Never heard of him in my life. And now I'm like, I'm okay with him starting a cup semi-final against your nearest rivals. I'm quite up for it, actually. And Alistair Johnston, who'd heard of him this time last year? And that'll be the difference in the summer windows that are coming up. You'll see Jack Butland's, James Milner's, and the like being linked. James Milner wouldn't surprise me, Liverpool connection, all that stuff. That wouldn't surprise me, someone like that. But all the names you'll have heard of, they'll all be coming up because there's this mad perception. See, when you listen to like some of the more English sort of like radio stations and it's experts, I always fancy going up to Celtic or Rangers at the end of my career. Well, hold on now. from where I am, it's only ever been Rangers that that have kind of done that. I think Lenny was looking at it a couple of times. He was in his first transfer window just to help us along, but it's never been really our remit. So you don't
I would
get
say
to
the last time we did that was Colo Touré, wouldn't it? Really, the
Yeah.
last time we took one, with
5
a
months.
veteran from the Premiership, and he didn't last very long anyway.
So I just think that policy that they've got is such a simplistic, boring, seen it all before, and doesn't bring much success. It's a real mixed bag, if not a shit bag of sort of success that it's brought. So from our point of view, we now signed young, vibrant players that you might not know of, but come with the right attitude, the right application, the right determination, and with bags of ability, and from loads of different cultures and styles of football.
Yep.
They make it really exciting. Our window is going to be a vibrant one. Theirs is going to be seen it all before.
I've said it before on the show, like I get more excited about these obscure players from obscure markets because it's the intrigue of it, and I think it's the credit in the bank that Ange has got so far. The hit rate that he's had has been phenomenal. I mean, you look back to previous managers just before, we were signing like Bio, an Ivorian striker for the Slovakian market, where you'd be like, oh, that's a bit intriguing, but that didn't turn out good. But if Ange was to sign a concoction like that, you would probably go, I trust him. This is going to be an exciting signing. But remember, we were linked with an Iranian left back from the Swedish league. Remember that one?
That's
a year
right.
ago? Yeah, and when you hear that concoction, you're like, oh, wow, that sounds well. But you're intrigued because Ange has shown so far that you trust him. When it comes to contacts and networking, if you think of it like use a book as an analogy, Ange probably literally has a book of contacts, but Michael Beale's got like one sheet of paper. It'll just be down in England, a couple of contacts at Liverpool, maybe get some players in on loan like Gerrard did with getting Kent initially. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Beale's going to have an extensive network, so it's going to be journeymen, guys that are over the hill, guys that are running down their contract, even though when they sign, it'll be, it's a £10 million player that Rangers have signed. Is that a fact? Aye. So usually it's always the same rhetoric.
Wages-wise, it's quite an expensive market to be shopping in.
Well,
you don't get much value for a buck. You don't get much value for buck at all shopping in the English leagues for players like that have been used to getting paid well. It's the reason why Celtic don't really do it very often at all. It very rarely happens. I mean, you even look at the squad we have now, and I think Postecoglou's only signed maybe 2 players down from England, Joe Hart and Matt O'Reilly. I'm not sure there's been anybody else, but
McCarthy, but that was a stopgap signing, and that definitely wasn't him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he had anything to do with that one. That sounds like that was a Dermot Desmond production, if ever I've seen one. But, even if you want to include them in, that's only 3 players, and one of them has barely featured at all since Postecoglou's came in. So it's really only 2 that have actually made a dent on the starting 11. And the ironic thing is, when Celtic are looking at the summer window, one of them is probably somebody that a lot of people want replaced in terms of goalkeeper. And I think a lot of people would be intrigued if Postecoglou was to go back into either the American or the Japanese markets or wherever it may be, and he was to pluck a goalkeeper from there. The Celtic fans would be intrigued and would be interested to see what they could bring to the table. Whereas with Rangers, it is always a case of just shopping in the same car boot sale, looking for players that are well past their peak and hoping they can still do a job up in Scotland. And to be honest, it very rarely works out. I can't really remember the last one that they had that was overly successful that they've done this with. Aaron Ramsey was a spectacular failure last year when they brought him in, cost them the Europa League when he missed the penalty. So, I think Celtic definitely have a far better grasp of how to do business in the transfer window. I think that has given us such an advantage over our rivals. And until they kind of get on board with trying something different, then they're always going to be chasing our shadows. But I don't know if they maybe do that perhaps because of the fact they know they've got season ticket renewals, etc. coming up now, and they're maybe thinking we need to be doing something glamorous. And, Butland is a name that, people have heard of. They know who Jack Butland is, rather than going into obscure market to try and get the fans back on side. But it seems like that's what they do every year to try and get the fans on side. They bring in one of these names that people know because of them playing in the English football leagues, and then hope that they're going to make a similar impact up in Scotland, and it really works out that way.
I agree, but you know, that's now that time. Where are we at score-wise?
There's 1 point in it.
One point in it.
14, 13.
Snipped back from 5 to 1. I said at the top of the show. I mean, this week, Russell, could be an upset where I pull back a 5-point deficit. Next week could be a capitulation if I manage to get myself 1 point in front. It would be the biggest. It would be the biggest embarrassment, I think, in the history of Celtic podcasts if you were to bottle this from you. Biggest bottle job I've ever seen.
Mate, I won't bottle it. I wouldn't bottle nothing, mate. If you are new like Kieran, I've seen in the comments, his first ever time in the bus. Welcome aboard.
Welcome, man.
This is the time where Sutton Death occurs, and it's myself against the younger brother, the intelligent brother, I may add. And we basically have Quizmaster Phil hit us with a question where we've got to name X amount of usually players, sometimes teams, in various types of Celtic scenarios, and we try and basically play a penalty shootout with it, see who blinks first, essentially. So this will be good fun.
Yes, indeed. The score is 14-13 to Russell. Just 5 weeks ago, it was there was 5 points in it. Now he's back to 1
Have
point.
I won in the new gaff yet?
That might be it. That maybe it was different. Aye, maybe.
Steve was right. I think I've won once, and it was when there was 2.
That's right. We did
I think that's
two.
the only one I've won since I moved in.
Aye, okay. Well, the current state of play is there's 6 rounds left, so including tonight. So the finish line is inside. The finishing line is the 30th of May. So that's it. So yeah, if Jonathan draws level, there will be 5 points left on the board. And he's on 14 each. Or can Russell get a wee 2 point gap? Give himself a wee bit of breathing space here.
The likelihood of him winning 5 in a row is slim. Let's go, boys.
Right, so I'll keep up the old music and we will get going, guys.
At least this has been a bit more of an interesting title race than the Scottish Premiership, Russell. This is where the real drama happens in Scottish football now.
Yeah, that's because I know how to sell my product, Jonathan, whereas the SPFL doesn't.
So obviously, guys, comments off, yes.
Well, we're about to find out if it's a lucky top or not. We're going in the bin if we lose tonight.
Okay, guys. So, Jonathan, you won last week. First or second tonight?
First, please, Phil.
First, indeed. Okay, sticking with old tradition. Here we go. Okay, so tonight's question. I've been quite generous in recent weeks with a lot of answers, but tonight there are only 14 correct answers. So it's one of those ones where the margin of error is going to, come around really, really quickly here. So, tonight's question is obviously it is Scottish Cup week again, guys. Big semi-final coming up at the end of the week, in case you didn't notice. Celtic have got a rather good relationship with the famous old trophy, having won it 40 times. They have beaten 14 different opponents in Scottish Cup finals over the years. Can you name any of the opponents that Celtic have beaten? And just a little bit of info for you, just so you know, all of the teams exist. It's not like Third Lanark or Vale of Leven teams that are dead.
Rangers?
Well, no, that was going to be what I was going to get said. But yeah, it's, you know what I mean. But teams are completely wiped off the map, and you don't see them in the league structure anymore. Because you're going to have to go back to the 1800s here, guys. So you're going to have to dig a bit deep with this one. But yeah, teams like Third Lanarks and all that, and Abercorn, all these teams that existed in the early 1900s. It's none of them on the list. It's all teams you've definitely heard of. So
fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go first and take Rangers out of the equation.
Yeah, fair dues.
I will go similar to SPFL. We will go with Hearts.
The Jam Tarts.
Yes,
the
indeed.
Homerun Hearts.
The lottery farts. Hey, that's plenty of that. I shall go for Aberdeen.
Aberdeen is indeed correct, yes.
Motherwell.
Yeah, Motherwell is a correct answer.
I shall take Hibs.
Hibs, a correct answer, yes.
Getting tricky now. I'm going to say St Mirren. No, wait, did I say St
You
Mirren?
said St Mirren!
I have to take your first answer.
Why did I just say that?
St Mirren is a correct answer. Well done, you slipped into that one. That was like Con Terry's penalty where he slipped, but this time he scores when he slipped. So that's what that was there. So you scored. St Mirren.
I don't even have that written anywhere. Why have I said St Mirren there?
Oh my god, that was luck. That was luck.
There you go. Yes.
I'm going to just flip it straight back to them. Dundee United.
Yeah, Dundee United is correct.
This is what I meant to say last time, right? And they're not even related at all. Airdrie. Why am I saying
that? Was who I had.
Airdrie is correct. Yep.
Yeah,
so it is now 4 each. It's your 5th kick. Here we go.
I'm not sure I know any of the other ones. For sure. Airdrie was the last one I knew.
I get the feeling this is going to be... This is guessing stage now, so...
It is. I'm trying to think of who else has been good in Scottish football down the years and might have sneaked into a cup final. It's going to be a guess. It's going to have to be a guess, I think. I'm going to guess Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock is a wrong answer. We've not been
League Cup.
League Cup final.
Yeah, it was League Cup.
Final, yes, but Scottish Cup final.
Yeah, nah.
Russell, over to you.
Yeah, I was watching the first league title one, and they were saying a team that is definitely around, but I don't know if they've made a Scottish Cup final, and I'm tempted because they've won the league. I'm going to say Dumbarton.
Dumbarton.
Oh, that's a good one. I think that's right.
It's an interesting guess, but it's a wrong guess in this one. So it stays at 4 apiece, and now we do enter Sutton Death. A maximum of 5 more guesses if you are still tied at the end of the 5, or if you've managed to get all the remaining answers and you end on an equal score, then obviously we'll have a Sutton Death question. But if not, yeah, a potential 5 more goals here, guys. I'll just say this, all the answers that you've got so far are all the ones I expected you to get, so the ones that are left are the
shites. Yeah. The shite. Excellent. I think who else? I mean, to be fair, this is just going to be guesswork. I can't think of anybody that I can say for absolute certainty. I'm going to say, I know another team that was fairly good back in the day. What about Queen's Park?
Queen's Park is a correct answer. The first Scottish Cup was Queen's Park, I believe. So
just keep him on his toes, Dunfermline.
Oh, that was good.
Right.
That was good. You were at that.
Straight back to you, son. Get your thinking hat on.
So, you've got 4 guesses left each, but there's only 4 answers left. So if you've managed to get all of them, or if you're still tied at the end of these 4 guesses, then we're going to a tiebreaker question. But 4 answers that are left. It's going to be a lot of shots in the dark here.
Well, no, I didn't get them firm, because that was actually fairly recent. Who else might have been good back in the day? I cannot think of another team that was particularly good, so I'm just going to have to throw another one out there. I'm going to say Dundee.
Dundee is a correct answer.
Yes!
Well done. Dundee is right. There are 3 answers left in the pool.
He's done it. I'm out, man. I'm going to say another Glasgow team. I'm going to say Partick Thistle.
I thought of Partick Thistle.
No, I don't think it's right.
Partick Thistle, we've definitely played in the League Cup finals, but we've not even played them in a Scottish Cup final. So it is a win for Jonathan. Pulled it back to 14 apiece with 5 points left to play for. Oh my lord.
Why did I say Dumbarton, not just Dunfermline? I'd have won.
Oh god. Yeah.
What
the jinx carries on. The jinx of the flat. I hate this place.
He'll be back at home next week.
Out of curiosity, do you want to know the three that were left? No, I mean, it would have been like just shots in the dark to get these ones. But the three that you didn't get were Clyde, East Fife, and an answer that Jonathan threw out a few weeks ago, completely randomly, was so wrong. Hamilton Academical.
Hamilton as well, but I thought no chance.
Hamilton Ackies was a correct answer. So yeah, well done, Jonathan. It is now 14 each with 5 points left to play for. Oh my word. Exciting times.
Isn't it just?
Oh,
big time.
He's won 5 in a row.
This week we saw the upset. Next week we'll see the capitulation, Russell.
No, mate, no. There's still, what, is there 5 weeks to go?
5 to go.
So you just need to win 3 more and you've won.
Yeah,
I feel like he's won 3 more of the remaining 5. He's
the best of 5 now.
If you win,
actually, yep.
So if you win 3 out of the next 5, that would mean you've won 8 out of 11, which I'm just can't accept that. So that's not going to happen. So yeah, I'm still confident I'll win.
I can't believe you missed Dunfermline. You were actually at a cup final against Dunfermline in attendance, and you forgot.
Tried to be a smart ass with the Dumbarton thing, didn't I? But I got away with one with St Mirren. I don't even know where St Mirren came from. I hadn't written it down and thought of it. Just I don't know why. I was reading Airdrie and I said St Mirren. Bizarre.
The bit from my point of view that was funny was how hysterical you were, and I'm like, calm down, it's the right answer. Believe it or not, you've actually nailed it. You've got it bang on. There you go.
Well, there we go.
There we go. It's going to be an intense finale.
We'll see. We'll see. If I win the next 3 weeks in a row, that's it. Done with 2 weeks to spare. That's the way I'm looking at it. And we've entertained the crowds, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all about giving the punters what they want.
It's all about that. It's all about that. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. It has been another brilliant fun Tuesday ticket. There was like over 170 live most of tonight, so thank you for that. If you've not hit the like button yet, please do. Share, slag my hair, all the usual stuff. And we will be back, guess what? Within 12 hours, I'll be back at 8:30.
Breakfast bar.
With Johnny Logue and Steve O'Matt.
Nice.
And I don't know if David's about. He's welcome on as well. But the breakfast bar is back. Literally 8:30 tomorrow morning. So I will see you all bright and early. I'll be as chuffy as ever. Hopefully I'll be over the defeat. And I look forward to having as many of you on the bus at that point as possible. Phil, big thank you for stepping in and trying to help share a bit of my vocal cord woes.
Before I go, would you like to know the topic for Nostalgia on Friday night? We've got a Scottish Cup semi-final with Rangers. So a few weeks ago, we did the Cup finals against Rangers in these times. I've picked 2 ties against Rangers in recent years. Scottish Cup ones, 2 different types of victories. One that was a war of attrition, and one where we just turned up and battered them. So we're going to talk about them as these 2 games. 2011, which obviously went to a replay, and we obviously won in the replay, and the one in 2018, the one you mentioned earlier on, Russell, the be careful what you wish for semi-final, where we just turned up and leathered them. So that's going to be the focus there. We're going to look at 2 very memorable Scottish Cup ties with Rangers in recent years, the 2011, say, war of attrition, the replay and so on, and then beating them quite comfortably in 2018. Be careful what you wish for.
That'll be very good. Look forward to that, mate. Nice one. Well, I'll be on as well. Let's do it. We will do Friday Nostalgia. I look forward to that. Good choices, Phil. Good imagination.
Excellent choices.
Right, anyway, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to bat my head off a wall. See you later.
When you've all that stuff at the start, they won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.